Hey guys, Greg with Kawasaki. We're with TransWorld today out at Comp Edge for the press launch of the 2014 KX450. Let's check it out.
Get back, and I ain't talking about two steps. I'm talking everyone you know. Come about on my flow.
So KX450 is a really solid motorcycle. It's really shaped all around the awesome power delivery this motorcycle has. It's super usable, great torque, overrev, you got it. We got the preset ignition couplers. There's 3 of them that come standard. Makes it really easy to change the power to different tracks or different rider styles. Super easy to work with. Up front we have the pneumatic spring fork, the PSF. This is a Kawasaki unit, super adjustable. It's all air, so there's no springs in it. It's nearly 2 pounds lighter than a conventional fork. Really easy to change with different conditions and for different riders and styles. Adjustability is a big feature on the Kawasaki. We have the front handlebars. You can change those between 4 different positions, and the foot pegs, Kawasaki is the only one to offer the adjustability in the foot pegs. We can lower those by 5 millimeters. So combining the handlebars and the foot pegs, you can make this bike fit just about anybody. KX450 has launch mode. This makes it easier for getting off the start, especially when it's slippery. Press the button, you hold it for a few seconds, and it retards the ignition. The moment you shift into 3rd gear, it resets it back to standard, so helps you get off the line in slippery conditions.
Hey everybody, this is TransWorld Motocross. I'm Pat Foster. This is the 2014 KX450, and we're at beautiful downtown Hesperia today riding a competitive edge.
You better get back, and I ain't talking about two steps. I'm talking everyone you know. Come about.
So right off the bat, there's really no changes to the 450 this year. Kawasaki had most of their focus on the 250F. When you buy a 2014, you can expect to get narrower grips with a little softer compound, and you're going to get a pump and a gauge for the air forks. Also, for those of you who bought 2013 bikes, expect to get a letter in the mail soon from Kawasaki directing you to go down to your local dealer where you bought your bike and pick up a free pump and gauge. They're going to give you those as well. Since we're talking about the air forks, let's start there. To be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of the new pneumatic fork last year. It definitely takes some getting used to. The positives about it, it feels really supple on the small bumps. It's really smooth initial action. Where I struggled with it was I had trouble with it blowing through the stroke on steep jump takeoffs, and it would bottom fairly easily on harder landings. When we would put more air in the fork to help absorb the bigger hits and some of those G-outs on the jump faces, I'd lose some of the supple feeling on the little chop. Definitely takes a little time to get used to it. It's a little different feel. After having a year of experience with it, gosh, we were able to get this thing set up really well right off the bat today. The bike feels great. A word of advice, you definitely have to use your pump and you have to use your gauge. If you're off just a couple of pounds on your air pressure, it's like going up a couple of spring rates on the forks. So you definitely have to monitor it. Definitely check your suspension before you ride every day. It's not hard to do, takes a minute, and you know, we've just got this thing working really good. This bike just works really well all around. I get on it and I just feel comfortable right from the beginning. It's easy for me to feel fast on this bike. It seems like it takes less effort than some of the other bikes. You know, Kawasaki narrowed their frame a couple years ago. It was a pretty wide bike. It feels so much narrower now. It's so much easier to slide up and back on the bike. So it's easy to put weight on the front end. The front wheel tracks really well in the corners. I think that between the pneumatic fork really working well on the braking bumps and staying connected to the track, it gives the front end a really planted feeling coming into the corners, and it just builds a lot of confidence to carry more speed in, lay the bike in, and get on it earlier. While I like a lot of things about the new Kawasaki, one of the biggest attributes is its motor. This thing's got just an awesome motor. It comes on really strong on the low end. It's got great mid-range and excellent top end. It just keeps revving way up into the RPMs, further than most of the 450s. Pre-programmed ignition couplers that Kawasaki supplies you with gives you the ability to adjust the power characteristics dramatically. Today was a perfect example. When we got here this morning, it was dissed a little bit deep in some spots. The dirt was tacky and it kind of robbed some power. We put the aggressive coupler in, and this thing just barks. It pulls so hard. But it's hot, it's dry, it's dusty, it's getting slick. Now later in the day, we've put the other coupler on. We've put, there's a stock coupler. We actually went all the way down to the mellow coupler, and it's so much easier to control the bike. The power rolls on smoother. It doesn't hit quite as hard on the bottom, but it seems like it pulls smoother and longer through the power band. And having that range of adjustability is just a huge asset, especially on days like today. Well, we're big fans of the Kawasaki, and like I said, it's my favorite bike. Of course, there are a few things that we wish were different. Keep an eye on the chain guide. They wear out fairly quickly. So even though there's no real material changes to the bike this year, it really doesn't matter. This was such a great bike. It's so much fun to ride. Definitely one of my favorites. And gosh, we just had a ball out here today. You know, it's actually kind of nice when there aren't many changes. You can just come out and focus on riding and having fun. And that's definitely what we did today. We had a ball. Anyway, we're going to spend a little bit more time on this bike. Look for a little more comprehensive story in a future magazine. And we might have a few more thoughts for you. Thanks a lot.